Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Junk You Should Know Show. I'm Dr. Heather Denniston. Thank you for tuning in again this week. We are here every Friday at noon PST. And guess what? After this week, you don't just have to look at me. The last few weeks, I've not had a guest intentionally to cover a few topics that have been asked about. And starting next week, we're back with interviews. So next week, we have Detox Market here. Meredy is going to tell us all about toxins in your makeup. So it's going to be a very, very good show. And last week's show was on some basic posture moves. It was very well received. I encourage you to go back and check that out. And remember that you don't have to just scroll through the news feed. You can just go to the Well Fit and Fed YouTube channel, and all of the shows are there. So you can watch junk to your heart's content. So one thing, while people are coming on, hi, whoever just joined. Sometimes I like to do a mini junk, and today's mini junk is about a new brand of cool workout clothes that I discovered a bit ago. And I thought, since I was wearing mine today, that I would share some information about them, because this brand is called Know Me, Know You. And literally, it's such a cool name, I didn't know how to pronounce it. And then when she said it, I'm like, oh, I get it. Know Me, Know You. And this woman started designing cool crop exercise and yoga pants when her mother died. And she took a bunch of her mother's artwork that she did not know her mother had done, and she has put them all on really cool pants. And the coolest thing about this one is right back here in a little part, little hidden part, is a tiny self-portrait her mother did of herself. So they're super special. So I believe you can get them online. I'll put a link below, but if you are in Tawasin or Vancouver, you can absolutely go and check them out at the New Crazy Mall. Know Me, Know You is the brand name. So that's a little bit of mini junk. And while we're waiting, I have a couple of funny stories for you. At least I think they're funny. Number one, I shared this with my Change Cave group the other night. There's this cat. Where I'm filming, I have a direct view of all the other townhomes close to me in my little complex, and there's a cat that has been staring at me for weeks. Every time I get up to do a show, that cat's there going. And I have had some staring contests with him, and I've named him George, and I just realized the other day he's not real. He's not actually living, so he's there permanently. It kind of made me laugh a little bit that this whole time, I swear I saw his head turning, but no. So he's fake, but I'm still gonna try to stare him down. He seems to still win. Okay, number two is yesterday I was presenting at a corporate event, and this was funny because I was talking about Jeff Weiner from LinkedIn, CEO from LinkedIn, and how when he goes into work, he blocks out 2 hours of his day. And so he breaks them into 30-minute chunks, and he uses them as brain battery charging times of his day. So he'll do things that charge your brain, like stretching and talking to a trusted friend and yoga and napping and daydreaming. Well, as soon as I said that, some of the audience goes, what? I said, what? And she goes, day drinking? That made me laugh. Shout out for day drinking. Okay, so that was pretty funny in my wellness talk. I also want to just mention our sponsor, the Change Cave, a 12-module online learning institute geared toward inspiring first steps and igniting passion in women over 40 who are ready to take their wellness to the next level. Through bulletproof resources, unwavering accountability, and an incredibly fierce group of like-minded wellness warriors, success is a foregone conclusion. So I hope you'll click the link below and check out the Change Cave, because we have such a powerful group there right now, and people are transforming left and right, and I love it. So that's the Change Cave. We already talked about day drinking. Yes, we did. So we are talking about, actually, let me just bring the title up again, Travel Apothecary. I often have people chat with me about, what do you take? I travel so much. What Heather, do you take on vacation with you as far as supplements goes? How do you stay healthy in amongst all that new food, and sometimes food that I can't eat? Or, you know, how do I do that? I'm exposed to lots of different germs and different things. How do I manage to stay healthy? Well, I wanted to put together a rather detailed list of things that you can, hi Tweety, oh, so great to see you. Rather detailed list of things that you can put together for yourself. Take some of them, take all of them, up to you, but I'm gonna give you the full list, okay? And so we're gonna break it down into before you go, while you're away, and upon your return. Laura, yay! And Dr. Laura, who just signed on, she also helped me compile some of this list. So shout out to Dr. Laura, thank you very, very, very much. And so I'm gonna just start through it. We basically, when we travel, there are some things that happen. I love how people get home from a trip and they get sick, or they got sick on the trip and they're like, oh, I got sick from the plane. That's imaginary. That is silly talk, because you don't get sick from a plane. You get sick from being immunocompromised and allowing germs to kick down the door and come in and infect you. And I know that sounds harsh, but once you realize that, then you realize how much power you have. You have way more power over how you fare during a trip than you think you do. Now, of course, things happen. Mosquitoes might bite you that have terrible things going on, and I hope that never happens. But there is so much you can do aside from that. So let's talk about before you go first, because that's really important. And a lot of people just think, oh, I'll take my emergency on the plane and I'll do all that. No, there's some stuff you want to do before you go for sure. So number one is, if you're going on a big trip, particularly if there's going to be a time change issue, you need to get a lot of sleep before you go. So often we are harried and hectic and crazy before we're trying to get out of town. So our stress goes up and we kind of enter into this trip already a little immuno-sacrificed. And so getting sleep and hydrating like a mad person can help you so much. Just those two things, okay? Going in somewhat rested and well hydrated will fare you very, very, very well. We want to boost immune function going in, because if you're going to war, you train, okay? And if you're going to India, or you're going to China, or you're going to somewhere where you have not been exposed to a lot of the different things that you will be, then you need to boost your armor. And so whatever immune boosting things you do through exercise, we already talked about sleep, hydrating, supplementing for immune function. We're going to get into that as we talk about while you're away. You can use some of those things. I like to take wellness formula before I go, and I'm going to show you that. And so all I want to say is don't forget the before you go section, because we don't want to ignore that, okay? Okay, thanks, Tweety. He can hear this in replay if he wants to, because I know he's traveling a lot. Okay, so now let's talk about while you're away, because a lot of this stuff will pertain to the before you go, and you can just add it in there. So first of all, when you're away, I always want to have a snack that I can count on, that I don't have to worry about at all. If you catch yourself, well, I'll give you an example. When Brent and I hiked the Camino, he laughed his ass off at me when I packed Ziploc bags full of snacks and I shipped them all the way over there. He's like, we are in Spain. You don't think we're going to be able to find food? Well, newsflash, Mr. Hiker, we were on one particular day where we could not find food. It was another 10 miles until we found something. So we ate through those snacks like crazy, and he was very grateful, and we ended up using them a lot. So even in places like Europe, you may want to have a few bars on hand so that you can, in a pinch, have something and not make either a poor choice or not have the option to make a choice at all. And being gluten and dairy free, Europe is tough, actually. And so in some ways it is, some ways it isn't. But in a pinch, I like to have something in my bag that I can pull out and not kind of freak out because I can't get food. So I'm going to just show you three of my favorites right now. RX bar goes without saying, no brainer. Everybody knows Costco is selling them now, so you can get them for cheap. Here's why I love this new one. What's absent? Well, obviously there's no BS. We know that's their main statement, but almonds. I can't do almonds, and almost all snack bars have almonds in them. So thank you, RX Bar, for making one of your bars without almonds. They have one with peanuts, but that's legumes, and I don't eat legumes because when you're on paleo, you don't eat legumes. So RX Bar, this is a new discovery for me. Bulletproof shortbread, kind of love it. If you need a sweet fix, It's just sweetened with stevia. There's only 2 grams of sugar. They rock. Dr. Laura, who runs a 40-day sugar detox program, probably is a big fan of this, I would think. Please shout out if you're not, Dr. Laura. But I'm really liking them because sometimes I like to have just a little bit of sweet. And so who am I kidding? All the time I like to have a little bit of sweet. Okay, and finally, protein. You need good protein when you travel, and these Epic bars are great. The flavors vary. The lamb makes you want to throw up. The turkey, not my favorite. But bacon, and I think they have bison and boar. So those are really good. And so for you who travel a lot, your carry-on should have 4 or 5 bars at all times. And then you can take some fresh stuff too, right? When you're on the plane, snacks are limited. You don't want to start your trip out eating some kind of boxed crap that's going to lower your immune system before you even land. And so I know fellow peers who chop peppers and take them on. I've taken a whole salad on, okay? I will take a bunch of leftover deli meat and veggies and different things that you can, it's amazing what you can actually get through security. So don't let that be hesitation. I've actually, and I've said this before, but I'll take literally a Ziploc bag of salad, I'll pour the dressing on right before I go through security, and once through, I'll just eat my salad before I get on the plane. So Yum Fest, much better than boxed like Cheez-Its and preserved meat that's full of and loaded with all sorts of grossness. So think about your snacks, both for the plane and for when you land, okay? It's worth the packing space. Okay, so that's while you are away to begin with. Hydrate on the plane. I recommend 1 liter every 2 hours. And I know you're like, oh, but I don't want to disturb my seatmate. I don't want to get up all the time. Is it worth getting dehydrated and becoming immunocompromised? No, it's not. Climb over your freaking seatmate and go to the bathroom, okay? You need to drink that water. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're well hydrated before going in. Then you don't have to pound it quite so badly on the plane. But just think every couple hours you should have about 1 liter, okay? The plane takes so much moisture from your body. And so it's not... in typical times, well, I like to drink a lot of water, but it's not like you have to drink 1 liter of water every 2 hours normally. But when you're on the plane, it's so dry and it is sucking moisture from you. So keep that in mind. Supplements. Now we're into the good stuff. There are 2 things I don't have to show you that I always take. Activated charcoal. We're going to talk more about that in the first aid section. And grapefruit seed extract. Grapefruit seed extract, not just grapefruit. Grapefruit seed extract has high immuno power and is a great one just to take the whole time you're away. Okay, so that's option number 1. Now let's get into the ones I can show you. First of all, simple, okay? Food enzymes. And you see these little baggies? It's not ideal to keep your food in plastic, but when you travel, you might have to just compromise a little bit. There are also these great, like, little containers of, like, I have a bunch of my supplements in here for short trips, and I actually just keep this one in my bag in case I'm, like, in my computer bag in case I go out for the day and I'm like, crap, I forgot to take my iron. Then I'll just kind of keep them in here too. But I travel with that. But these little plastic baggies, you can get tiny little food safe Ziploc. It's not ideal. Obviously, it's still plastic, but for short term and so that you can get your stuff onto limited packing space, I recommend it. I like a chewable enzyme and a digestible, okay? Here's why. When I'm eating, I'll take a chewable to start, so there's great digestive juice right there, ready and waiting, okay, when my food lands in my belly. And then I'll take a digestive one that has to wait till it gets to the stomach to digest and small intestine. And these typically are stronger, and so they work probably a little better than the chewable ones, but I like to use both. It's extra protection. Now, why are we taking enzymes? Well, when you're in new areas, you're eating kind of like foreign proteins, foreign ingredients, and your body's like, what is going on here? And it may have a little harder time working with the enzymes it's not used to and breaking things down. So having these extra enzymes available is very helpful for helping you digest and absorb the nutrients you're going to need while traveling. That's enzymes, alrighty? Okay, So next, a good probiotic, a shelf-stable probiotic. The one I like the best, and I don't have a picture to show you, and please know I'm going to list everything in the comments, okay, is called, it slipped my mind, Floristat. Floristar. I think Floristat is a yeast infection fighter, am I right? That's not what you want. You want Floristar. And you can get it at the drugstore. It's one that a naturopath recommended to me. I wasn't very sure about it at first because A, I don't like shelf-stable probiotics, and B, it's at Rite Aid. But I've actually been really happy with it. It's insanely expensive. Hi, Hillary. It's insanely expensive, but it is so worth it. Just one a day can help protect you while you're away, and otherwise your probiotics that are refrigerated aren't going to work on travel, right? Okay, so probiotics now. Fish oil. How the heck are you going to take a fish oil? Well, if you're going to be somewhere where you have absolutely no refrigeration capabilities, get a fish oil that's capsule and doesn't have to be refrigerated. It's not my favorite, but it's an option while you're away. I don't like to go off my fish oil because it's so important for cognitive function and just for so much, immune, gut, all of it. So Zinzino is a monthly subscription for really high quality fish oil. I'll put the link below. And they come in these, come in these tiny little bottles that, although they're 3.38 fluid ounces, I have snuck them on with almost no issue. So you can do that, or you can put them in just tinier little jars. I like to keep little tiny jars for just this reason, so that I can pour stuff in there and take it with me when I go. So fish oil. Moving on. Okay, here we go. Collagen, peptides, and greens. Yes. Couple things. Sorry, I keep disappearing. Lots of you out there are now taking collagen. You don't want to take a big canister of collagen with you, obviously. Vital Proteins makes these tiny little travel packs. Pour it in your coffee in the morning. That's extra protein for you, extra nutrients, great protective collagen. Collagen's essential for digestion. And when your digestion is being challenged, as it often is when traveling in crazy places, it's important. Even if I go to Wisconsin, that feels crazy to me because it's very, very hard for me to get the kinds of foods that I normally eat. So it feels a bit foreign sometimes there when it's hard to find like organics and things like that. So I like to protect my digestion with the collagen, and it's just great. It's good in your coffee. It's tasteless. So that's the Vital Proteins. You can get them in these little packets. When you're away, often you want to, if you've been advised to avoid fresh vegetables. Yes, thank you, Dr. Laura. Mega sporadic. Dr. Laura just meant, but from Microbiome Labs, she just suggested another probiotic. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Often when you're away, you may be advised not to eat the fresh vegetation because it may not be cleaned properly, it may be carrying bacteria, and so you may be really limited on how many veggies you can get. Enter nanogreens, okay? They also sell in tiny travel packets, and I never leave home without this because big advocate of course, getting as many of your fruits and vegetables every day. And if I'm traveling and I just think that, you know, like for instance, we're going to Mexico in June, I don't often eat a ton of fresh veggies if I'm like outside the hotel because I've gotten sick before. So I'll eat cooked stuff, that's fine. But if I can supplement with this is 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. And so if you fall short because you're not eating whole food, and then at least you're supplementing with that, okay? Number 3, for those of you that do bulletproof in the morning, so bulletproof coffee is basically just fatted coffee. It's got some sort of fat source in it, be it ghee, clarified butter, whatever. Often people are putting MCT oil in their bulletproof coffee. Do you know these come in travel packets? And they're awesome. And here's what I've done before is if I think, you know, my nutrition is going to be a little off, I'll just start the day by using 1 pack of this, of Vital Proteins, and a coffee or a chai. And I'll take a coffee carrier, what's the one Yeti. We have a Yeti one. And I'll pour that in. I'll pour my just purchased chai, coconut chai, or a coffee, and then I shake the heck out of it, and you've got a bulletproof on the go. So I will take that with me because at least I can start my day out right with some healthier fats and protein. Okay. Another thing you want to be aware of is this is both for first aid and for regular, using electrolyte powders while you're away, especially if you're in a hot area. If you are in Mexico or Hawaii, or you're in something like in India, or you're somewhere where the typical temperatures are pretty warm and you're losing water and you're trying to stay hydrated, electrolyte packs can be very protective for you for immune function. And so I like Dr. Price's because they're not sweetened with any crap, and they have no false sweeteners in there. They have got a little bit of flavor. I think it's stevia is the sweetener, but they have minerals, electrolytes, over 72 of them apparently. Dr. Price, good on ya. You can get these in a couple different flavors on Amazon. I will put the link below. But keep these handy. I like to do these like if I'm on a super long flight and I'm drinking my liters of water, and I will carry on 3 liters of water to start. If I'm doing like an 11-hour flight, I will take bottles of water because let's face it, the flight crew don't come around as often as they used to. So we can't possibly stay hydrated on their dime. So please make sure that you are carrying water onto the plane. But I'll do every second one. I'll throw a pack of this in there just to kind of keep things balanced. Okay? Electrolytes. Other options, Noon, N-U-U-N, also a very, very good brand. Okay, when you're away, you want to sleep, because if you're not sleeping and if you got a big old time change, sleep deprivation is one of the biggest immunosuppressors there is. So make sure that you are creating a good sleep cave. If you're in a hotel, just look at everywhere where you can turn off the electricity. You can block out those nasty green and blue junk light. Bring a sleep mask with you, bring earplugs. You have to protect your sleep time, because that's going to be the one thing that makes you susceptible, okay? Well, there's several things, but that's a main one. If there's a time change, I always recommend trying to flip by using melatonin, okay? It'll help. It's been shown to decrease jet lag, to help you right your time clock. This spray melatonin is perfect because it's only 2 fluid ounces. It's going to allow you through security. Spray it under the tongue, hold for 30 seconds, swallow, and say goodnight, because you will be out. So this is a good one. I will put the link down below there. And when you get home, can't tell you how long it took me to train Brent to do this with his like 90% of the time travel. But for the first 2 or 3 nights that you get home from a different time zone, use your melatonin. It's going to turn you around so much more quickly. And even if you're like, oh, I'm not jet lagged, your insides don't know that necessarily. They're still working to catch up, your physiology, your digestion, even if you feel sort of okay. So please use this. And melatonin. Oh, interesting story. When we were in Peru, we got up the first morning. It was my first big sort of international travel. And so I was a little bit anxious, and we met, I don't even think he really existed. I think he was an apparition actually, but we met the most seasoned, cool, single guy traveler, just hippie looking, and just looks like that's all he's done his whole life, and super comfortable traveler. Anyway, we got into a conversation with him, and I don't know if what he told me was true at all. It could be total BS, but it made me think about something for this presentation. He said, the minute you land in a different country, for breakfast, order a soft-boiled egg, because all the proteins in that egg have come from the natural local ground and soil, and has the probiotics you need, and has some of the proteins you need. And I thought, oh, that's kind of a brilliant idea, even if it's not true. Like, I love the concept of it. But what is true is just thinking about trying to eat as whole food as you can within a safe range. Because the more packaged you eat, the less nutrients you're getting, the harder your body has to use those to fight off these foreign bugs and different things. So as much as you can be trying to grasp a whole food diet, and why not? You're in a new country, you want to try new things. Just make sure that you are really being safe. Use your enzymes, use your probiotics. Okay, I literally have in my notes, don't be a moron and eat where you shouldn't, which leads us into, if you do get sick, let's talk about what you should be taking. Okay, so I mentioned Wellness Formula in the beginning, one of my absolute favorites. You take one a day the whole time you're away, but if you start to go, ew, feeling kind of yucky, then you start on three times a day until you don't feel yucky anymore. So you need to take enough, hi Leanne, you need to take enough that you can take one a day, but that you also have an emergency supply for your first aid requirements if you get kind of the travel poops, okay? And this works really well for that. It's got just loaded with all the vitamins and minerals and herbs that are just the best for boosting immune function and pushing out like bacteria and virus. So really, really good one. Keep that one in mind for sure. Other first aid tips and tricks. I always, let's see what else I have here. Here we go. I'm a big essential oil fan. And so my first aid kit has Band-Aids and essential oils because I just have never had to have emergency antibiotics or emergency like diarrhea stuff, which you can handle in other ways. But the essential oils are key. So I like a roll-on frankincense because frankincense is the Windex of essential oils. It treats everything, okay? So if you get a bruise or you're not feeling well, you can breathe it in. So frankincense it's a little pricey, but it is so worth it. The other thing I love are these guys. Look at this. So these are tiny little glass bottles. You can put your essential oils in and carry just a pharmacy of oils with you. So in here, I have lavender. I have On Guard, which is one I wanted to tell you about. I'm going to pull that one out and tell you about it. Digest Zen, which is another digestive essential oil that I love. These are doTERRA brand. I know there's other really reputable essential oil brands out there. I just don't know the details of their blends, so I'm sharing with you the doTERRA ones. Digest Zen, great for digestion. So if my digestion is upside down, I will do the chewable enzymes, the digestive enzymes, my probiotic, and a drop of this in water a couple times a day, and right as rain, okay? So these little guys are great. You can get these at any like essential oil store or whatever, these little glass jars. You can just get them on Amazon, and they work great, okay? 32 drops in one of these tiny little things, and that's a ton. That's enough for basically like 15 days away if you're using them. So On Guard for doTERRA, I have to mention it because it is such a strong antiviral. And so if you are feeling like you have a virus, we talked about activated charcoal is an option, and the Wellness Formula. And then I will do a drop of the On Guard in water to get it internal, because internal is going to be the strongest way to take an essential oil. You just have to make sure the oils you are taking are prepared and sourced such that they are okay to ingest, okay? Warning label on that. So that is hydrate, and also obviously just rest. Like I've seen people who have these insane travel schedules and they get sick and they just try to keep going, and I encourage them. I say, take the one day to let yourself rest and then get back on schedule rather than push through the rest of the trip feeling like crap. Maybe some of you seasoned travelers out there can give me up for that, because I think that's really important. Okay, now you're getting back and you had this awesome trip because you took all of your great snacks with you. You had your nano greens, you had some collagen peptides in your coffee in the morning, you had some awesome fat with your bulletproof little pack you can take. Maybe you took your fish oil with you, and then you had your essential oils, digestive enzymes. And it sounds like a lot, but literally, like, it takes up this much space once I've packaged everything out. And then you have a whole apothecary to use during your travels, okay? So when you get back, again, so many people get sick when they get back and they're like, oh, I must have got something on the plane. Okay, the likelihood is you didn't actually get it on the plane. You got it a day or two before you left. You let your guard down, you forgot to take some of your supplements, or you ate something stupid, as so many people do on the very last day. They're like, oh, I didn't get sick. I'm going to branch out and eat off this street cart in this like no-name meat I don't recognize. Please don't do that, because when you get back, you're going to regret it. And so a couple days after you get back, if you start to feel yucky, just same treatment. I mean, activated charcoal is great. Your wellness, up your wellness formula, use your On Guard, hydrate, 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 and sleep. Okay, big time. So when you get back, again, you can turn around with melatonin. Make sure, one of the things when I started traveling as much as I do, even when I was working, I insisted, and we don't all have this flexibility, but if you can at all make it happen that you have one day of transition between getting home and going back to work, or jumping back into all of your hats that you wear, that can mean the difference between you taking 2 weeks to get back on track as far as jet lag and feeling well, and taking a day. Because if you can give your body the chance to rest and transition and not be too busy and not have to jump into a time schedule and a time change and all of that, you're going to be much, much happier. Look what I forgot to do. We talked about while you were away, and now we're talking about upon your return. Okay, Dr. Laura says, so true. Better to feel better than seeing another gorgeous old building. And I have to agree totally. I've tried both ways, and canceling a day and going to bed is a much better choice, okay? And I think, for a couple of first aid things from Dr. Laura that I didn't think about, and that was arnica. Of course, right? Like having some arnica on as a really nice healing salve that you can rub on to whatever you want to, or take internally. So you can take arnica pills, you can take arnica lotion. So that's another one to add to your little first aid kit. Frankincense, lavender, oil of oregano. Oil of oregano is another antiviral oil that is great. It does come in nice small dropper bottles that are less than 3 ounces, and so you can take it through security. And oil of oregano is a great emergency response to I'm starting to feel sick. So that's, I think, the last one. Are you guys so overwhelmed? Well, luckily I'm going to put in the comments links and details. And so if you want to go back and review it that way, you absolutely can. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll be sure to circle back and take a look at those. And I want to, again, just mention sponsors The Change Cave. And we are here every Friday at noon. And if you have an idea for a show, or you have somebody that you think would be a good interview subject, or you are a good interview subject, please let me know. I'm getting the schedule ready for November and December. Guess who I might get? Who knows? The fitness marshal. We're in talks. We're in talks. He may be joining us. So Leanne, I know you know who he is. He and I have actually been texting. So that's pretty awesome. If you don't know who the fitness marshal is, look up fitness marshal on YouTube, and please enjoy yourself, because I know you will. He is the best. Okay, guys, I'm going to sign off. I love you all, and thank you so much for tuning in. Happy travels, safe travels. Get the most out of your travel by following some of these recommendations. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.